Incursion. Fight your way through waves of minions and defeat the enemy's sentries. Escort minions to enemy sentries to strip away their shields and leave them vulnerable to attack. Destroy shard clusters to earn shards. Use those shards to power tactical structures throughout the battlefield. Destroy the enemy's final sentry to achieve victory.
We're here today to see Incursion.
Yes.
5v5, competitive multiplayer, and I remember you saying in your presentation that this is probably the most sort of MOBA-esque mode.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a huge fan of MOBAs per se. I absolutely loved Incursion. Like, as a shooter fan, I got into it so easily. Like, it seemed to be really detailed, and there's a lot of depth there, but it's incredibly accessible as well. Can you just give us a brief lowdown on what Incursion is and what goes on in that game mode?
Sure. First, I'll just talk about, I love that you talk about you're not a big MOBA player, but you really liked Incursion.
Absolutely.
I think if you come at it from a shooter angle, for me, I look at like the nice objective-based shooters. I've been a huge Battlefield fan all of my life. And I think having the objectives that you can capture and you can take is very similar to what we try to do in all of the Battleborn game modes. It really leverages that team play and tactical strength of our game. Incursion is a mode where each team has these two big spider sentries that kind of have some cool over-the-top personality, but these are massive kind of machines of war. They're not static towers that you beat to death. They're these large, vibrant, active, and deadly enemies that you can't take on by yourself. And so you have to take the first one, and you have to take the one near each of your bases on the end of this kind of long map, and the map we're playing, I think, today called Overgrowth. But you take down the sentries, and you really have to work together to do that. And one of the things you have to use is not only your teammates, but each team has this stream of these little cute robotic minions that have been specially equipped with lasers that can strip off the shields from the sentries, making it ripe for attack. So Incursion really is a game. It's almost kind of a tug of war where you have to use everything available to your team with the tactics, all your skills. There are also some other mercenaries, the thrall outcasts that you can recruit through the course of your map. But you get your minions, you get the thralls. You can actually spend some in-game currency on some other in-match currency, I should say, the shards that you pick up, the crystals that power up that. Put it all together to try to just get that tidal wave of attack through and take down the sentries. I think it's really exciting, really cool, awesome team fights. Really shows off, I think, some of the tactics and the pairing of certain characters and working together with your team. Very exciting mode. I'm glad that you love it. It's probably our longest, more in-depth, more tactical game mode in Battleborn, but it's absolutely been a joy to play. It's one of the first games we prototyped for the title, and now we're coming back to it with a hopefully good polish and all that. And I can't wait for other people to get their hands on it.
It's super sweet. And as I say, like, not having played the game before, jumping straight into it, you get a sense of the ebb and the flow of that rather sort of slightly longer battle. Do you have any top tips?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, you do want to pay attention to your sentries. I mean, that's really what the match is about. So if you get distracted with other things, or the team draws you away into other fights, sometimes it's very possible for the team to kind of get a sneak attack on your sentry, to have their minions get up there and take all that. So you always want to be aware of kind of where the ebb and flow of battle is and which sentry is threatened. Also, the buildables. One of the things that happens all through Battleborn is you can collect these shards, these star shards that fall down on the maps, and they'll respawn and you can pick them up. But you use them to build these buildable structures. There are turrets that will shoot enemies and attack enemies. There are healing stations that can help regen health without having to go all the way back to the base. And in Incursion, there are also accelerators, which accelerate your minions and you throughout the lane, meaning that you're going to get to that center point and get to the sentries even faster. Using buildables, almost dedicating a team member sometime to just going around collecting shards and building buildables is a big one. Also, I mentioned just briefly earlier those thrall outcasts. You have to go, you'll find the thrall, you have to go attack them and fight them to kind of subdue them and get them ready. And when they join your side, they're these big, massive beasts that run down the lane and just, like juggernauts, attack everything. They're very intimidating. They don't do an immense amount of damage, but they have a lot of health and provide, again, just another flow of pressure on that. So making good use of those thrall at the right time when your team is ready for a push, making good use of buildables and defending your territory and adding pressure at points are really, really big, important. And then, of course, mastering your Battleborn. I mean, the heart of the game are the characters, are the Battleborn. So finding a Battleborn really with your team, the better you talk about your team composition and how you're building out, who are your defenders, who are your supporters, what are your attackers doing, the more you do that and the more you think about a strategy and execute it, this is a team game. You're going to do better and you're going to succeed better when you're thinking and working as a team.
I think as well, like, obviously in any multiplayer shooter, you try not to die too much, but right. I found myself absolutely not wanting to die in Incursion simply because of the teleportation. Sure. Can you talk a little bit about that and the importance of, knowing when to pull back? Yeah,
one of the things that we kind of iterated through, we played with a lot of different methods of respawning and taking the groups, and we really wanted Incursion to have that kind of ebb and flow of the match that you mentioned. One of the things that's really important with that is as Incursion progresses through the time of the match, your respawn timer, when you die and respawn at your base, becomes longer and longer. It starts around 8 seconds, and I think it goes up to 44, 45 seconds. It's a pretty long time. We wanted to do that because if you've done well as a team and taken out many members on the other team, there's a wonderful opportunity for you to reverse the flow of the match, to take another sentry, to really push everything and to get an advantage. It's a really important part of the match. But yeah, if you are hurt, it's better not, classic shooters tell us, I'm just going to throw myself at the enemy until I'm dead, and then I'll respawn a few seconds later and all that. Because Battleborn has that tactical component to it, though, it's very important that you either one have a supporter in there that can heal and keep you in there, or later on in the match you can teleport back to base. This is another thing that the MOBAs did really well. We loved it with this kind of feel on the mode. So just find a quiet corner, you can tap a key, it's a B key on the keyboard or down on the controller. After 3 seconds, your character will go in this cute little animation. It's different for characters. You should try some different characters and see. There's some really hysterical return to base animations in our characters. And you go back to base and instantly heal back up. You give up a little bit of tactical field position, a little bit of your push and strength, but it only takes you 5 or 10 seconds to run back out, maybe 15 seconds to run back out to the fight in the middle of the map. Whereas 45 seconds at the end of the match is a long time to be out, and you're sitting there biting your fingernails and watching your team struggle without you. You don't want to do that. So it's a really smart play and a great way to really think of the resources of that ebb and flow in the match.
I certainly found that playing as Galilea, obviously she has to get quite close in with her melee attacks unless you have, it's dangerous to go alone. You have to check out the game for more on that. Yeah, like pairing up with a healer was certainly a sort of a really viable tactic for me.